Welcome back. In previous episodes I installed a VP helper coil spring on the front axle, and that gave it about 40 millimeters of lift, and I really liked that kit. The only thing is now the front is 40 millimeters up and the rear, well, is in the factory height, so it looks kind of funny. I have to do something about it, that the van is back in the level it needs to be. So I ordered a rear axle lift kit that actually is made for rear-wheel drive sprinters. So I guess I have to modify it to fit the four-wheel drive. But yeah, let's go and check it out. And here is the lift kit. In this kit there comes, those are the bump stop spacers, the 50mm blocks. I guess they are made of aluminium. Those are the shock absorber bottom brackets. These are for sway bar spacers. And as I said, this kit is made for rear-wheel drive, so it has U-bolts that are just a little bit longer than the original ones, but it's not enough for a four-wheel drive, so I had to get longer ones. Of course, bolts. Really good instructions with all the pictures, and it has really nicely explained what things you need to do to install it. And I'm not sure for what are those for. Seems like zip ties. Okay, I guess for the handbrake cable, but not sure what for are they, those tubes. And I guess I need to replace the brake hose for a longer one, so just in case I got this. But yeah, that's all that comes in it, so let's start installing. I ordered this kit because I wanted to have a quick test to see how it drives, if it has any issues, so I can later sort them out. And after that, order the correct size lift blocks for it. Okay, guess that's enough. Seems like that the Sprinter's own block is also hollow from the inside. Of course, to save some weight, but those are solid. Just to let everyone know, I did all for testing. So I hope no one will ever stack lift blocks, because it can be really dangerous to try. I also replaced the brake hoses for longer ones. Alright, how is it to drive? It feels more in balance now, at least. Before I felt that the front was up and it It was kind of strange to drive, like with a squat truck. After test driving, I did notice some vibrations in the drivetrain on low and high speeds. Right, back in the garage again. So, the vibration problem. I think I found out what was the cause of it. So here we are under the van again. And the problem what I had is the angles of the U-joints. They aren't anymore in the same angle. So the problem is if they are in different angle and the prop shafts turn, the U-joints won't cancel up themselves, because when they turn they have to be totally same angle on both sides, and when this will be in different angle, it will cause that this flange will move a little bit slower and faster, but if they are in same angle they will spin in the same speed. And I already measured them on mine, and the problem was that the flange on the front axle was sagging down. Usually this happens because those bushings get old, but I have already replaced this one. Maybe in future I need to replace the other ones too. This seems to be a little bit fatter on the lower hand. But yeah, it was sagging. There's not much what you can do about the front axle to change any angle on it, but I found one thing that I could do is I undone those bolts on both sides. Then I put a jack under there and a blank here. I lifted the jack up when those bolts were loose. Don't force it, just a little bit, as much as you can. And then I retightened those bolts, and this helped a lot, because now the angle was 5 degrees. Yeah, I already fixed those problems. Now I'm not on a flat surface, but anyways, this was 5 degrees. And then I needed to adjust the transfer case to match the angle of the front axle, and to do this you could undo those two bolts there on the upper bracket, those, and this will let you wiggle this bracket a little bit and change the angle of the transfer case. So I had to match the 5 degrees. I pushed the transfer case as up as I can and retightened those bolts. This gave me the transfer case's angle 4.8 degrees. So remember, the front axle was 5 and this was 4.8. I could not change any more, but it's inside the 0.3 degrees difference that you can maximum have, and that's totally fine. If it's more, it will cause vibrations, but 0.3 degrees and under it is still fine. And then the transmission, it was luckily 4.8, so it was same as the transfer case and those here. But if you need to lift it, you could install a shim under here, or if you need to drop it, you could install shims under this bracket. This will pull the transmission's rear end down. And to measure those, I got myself this digital gauge. You have to get the flanges straight, so you have space to put it in between those. Don't take the axles off, because it needs to be in place. The axle's own weight will change a little bit the angle of the transfer case, and if you take them off, I think the transfer case will move a little bit up, and that will mess up the measurements. So keep the axles in place and get the angle guide on them and mark up all the angles on each flange. The ones on the transfer case, on the transmission, on the front axle, the rear, and on the pinion. So if I had those matched, I started to check the pinion angle. I already knew, I measured it. It was off 2 degrees and I don't know why. That's totally too much and will cause heavy vibrations. If you have a multi-leaf spring back, mine has single, but if it has multi, like 2 leaves, 3 leaves or more, you could install, how are they called? Wedges, like bolted all together. But because mine is single, I cannot do that because it doesn't have a through bolt there. So I need to do something else. My plan now is to build my own lift blocks. And because the rear pinion angle was off about 2 degrees, I'm planning to do it in a wedge shape, so it will compensate the angle. I made the lift block with 1.9 degrees angle. This will match the pinion angle with the transmission. Now the holes are done on the bottom, I mean on the top of it, and they are really precise. And even the original lift block spin just fits really snug. But now I want to make a little change, because for my eye, it didn't look like that, like the wheel was fitting in the middle of the wheel arch. So I want to make the hole, it's a little bit, just 5 millimeters, how did I say, to the front. So the rear axle goes 5 millimeters forward, because if you add a lift kit, the drive shaft also will stretch a little bit in the slip joint. So I think this will compensate with this offset, and also the wheel wasn't in the middle of the arch, so I would fix two issues with one mode. Now I need to use a 8.5 drill bit to make a hole there, so I can tap in a 10 mil thread. So they should be same as this one. As here. I already tested. I made a 9 mil hole, 8.5 and 8 mil and tap it, and I feel the 8.5 was the best one, so I'm going to use this for this reason, this drill bit. Alright, they are welded now, and it seems like they did not warp, still straight. The welds are not the best. I'm sure a boy in sandals will do better than I do, but anyways, it is what it is now. I just want to test it out, and anyways, I have to take them out later and make some kind of bump stops here. Alright, I already fitted one bolt here. I'm going to take off this one and put it there. After that, I guess I can install them to the Sprinter and see how it works. Okay, let's check it out. So it's 4.15. Yeah, is it fully on? 4.15. And the pinion angle is now 4.3 degrees. That's actually really good, because you can have a difference of 0.3 degrees. So wait a moment, before I felt kinda small like binding feel. Yeah, it's gone. What? After fixing the pinion angle and matching it with the transmission, the vibrations were finally totally gone. Because the Sprinter originally had those pump stops, they won't reach anymore, and I cannot use them because they are connected with the lift block. So I had to make my own. So they should go there. Just have to find the right spot and do some spot weldings, and after that I have to take them off and do the weldings properly. Okay, now it should be in line. We'll also make a hole for the water to drain out. This should be enough, and it's on the rear, so when you start driving it won't go back. Now I need to prep the parts. I'm using brake cleaner because it's the easiest to get. It's all cleaned up now, and I'm going to use as primer this thing. It has zinc inside it, so it will be really good for rust protection. Now they are primed up, so need to wait a little bit till the primer dries up, and after that I'm going to put top coat. Those parts had whole night to dry out, so yeah, I can now reinstall them. We'll spray some cavity wax inside them so they won't rust immediately away. That's enough. I also replaced the torque bones for longer ones. The ones that I had before were like, I don't know, were they like 14 centimeters? This short, but they would have been too short for this setup because the sway bar was somewhere there and the torque bones were sideways. This one will be enough for this setup. Okay, I guess that's all that I had to do under the van. So And before someone complains that they are too weak, Eaglehout uses same design. Alright, now I have everything installed. And in my opinion looks really nice. Now the front and the rear are in the same level. And because I moved the rear axle 5 mm to the front, it's in the center of the wheel arch now. And also the pinion angle is fixed, so it's not giving any vibrations anymore because it's in the same angle as the U-joint on the transfer case. And I have lots of clearance under the van. And after that I took the one out to see how good the extra clearance is. This up. I think it should be no problem, but I have a tight turn after that. Let's try. It went up. I wasn't fully sure will it go because I was thinking maybe the prop shaft will take a hit, but seems like it had enough clearance. In the video it doesn't look maybe that steep, but well, it's actually, I don't know, 150 centimeters or so. Yeah. Would be much easier if I had a transfer case with a low gear, but just wait and see. Maybe I have some ideas for that. Unfortunately, I don't have any other steep places or terrain here to test it out because we have modified it a bit too steep for a sprinter. But if I go somewhere off-roading, I'm going to make some videos about this. But I'm quite happy with it. Now it's same level as the front one and has lots of clearance there, and because it's a source sprinter, the prop shaft is quite far behind. It doesn't have a carrier bearing in the middle. I think that's enough for this video. Just wait and see, I have more coming soon. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. And if you like this video, put the like down there. And if you have anything to ask or whatever comes on your mind, please comment down below. I really like to read them. Yeah, that's all for this video. So thanks for watching and hope to see you in the next one. Bye.